We are live in five, four, three, two, one. Boom. Hello, everybody. Welcome back to another episode of the Average J's podcast. As always, I'm Jay, Justin Ruiz.
And I'm Jay, Jeremy Francois. I need to just do a quick plug here. I do have the sniffles because it is pollen season and climate change is real. So I do apologize in advance for the sniffles.
Okay. Damn it, Jay. I just don't understand why you need to bring that kind of negativity to our episodes. You know,
Is it
just
negativity
just
though? It's
kick
just
this
nature. Just
kick
stop being allergic.
yeah, just kick the sniffles,
Turn it
man.
off.
Turn it
You
off.
know what's
Yes.
funny? I kept yelling earlier. I just kept saying, the F bomb, and I was like, curse this nose. And then I was like, you know what? I was telling Gabby, I was like, it's because God said you're gonna be black, but then I'm gonna give you a curse, just because black is cool. But then He's like, because you're cool, we're gonna curse you with this allergies.
So he had to even it out for you.
He had to even it out. He's
Okay,
like, yeah, you're gonna be stuck with this forever,
I,
and
I get
curse
that.
you.
That makes sense. So, for everyone that's new here, this is the Average J's podcast, where we remind you of the pop culture news you might have missed. We have a couple of things up on the docket that are kind of interesting, but we're gonna start off with one of the most interesting sentences you're gonna hear. Um, so on the docket, we literally just have this written out as Rat Czar in NYC. So Jay's gonna take that away.
Yes. So, and you would know this because you lived here, so you know we have a rat problem.
Yeah, of course.
I'm sure. I believe we're top five, and if anything, in that top five, New York is the number one with the most rat
It
problem
has
in the
to be.
United States. And I didn't do that part of my research, but okay, give me a sec. Why did I lose it? I lost it. Here we go. So I'm just gonna jot down real quick. So a couple of days ago, it's just been all over the internet that we have a rat czar. I don't know why the word czar was chosen. We do know Russia is a big problem now, so I don't know why we chose those words. Anyway, Mayor Eric Adams, the most loved mayor ever, that was sarcasm, has put his faith in Kathleen Corradi, if I said that correctly, New York City's new director of rodent mitigation to oversee rat reduction efforts. And
So
I read this, and I was like, hmm.
can I tell you what I thought this was? So
Yes, go ahead.
in order to keep like reactions genuine and stuff, I know like sometimes we don't read the articles that the other one is gonna like be
Oh, I see what. Yeah,
presenting. So I
that's true.
didn't read up on this whatsoever because I wanted to hear you break it down and then give my honest feedback. I saw this and I thought that this
Yeah.
was a new kind of like pizza rat thing where like there was a massive
Oh,
huge
okay.
rat that for some reason they were calling the rat czar, and I was waiting to hear about like this, I don't know, 50-pound rat that was like leading
But
an army of rats. Like,
but you see what I mean, though. Why did we choose the word? Like this is, and where I'm getting this is from the New York Times.
yeah.
So, and I'm not saying they're the one that coined the term. This is all over, the media and social media. So it's like, why choose the word "SAR"? And when I read it, I thought, I was kind of close to you where, I've been watching Ninja Turtles, the 2012 one. So I'm thinking like, do we have like a mutated
Do we have a
like
master
leader, like
splinter?
an alpha rat king,
Mm-hmm.
which is one of the last few episodes I saw was the rat king. So anyway, yeah, that's our initial reaction. If you had initial reactions, let us know. So the little head, the what do you call it? The subline under the headline? I forget what they call it.
Subheading.
Thank you. New Yorkers have encountered rodents in toilets,
Mm.
on trains,
Mm-hmm.
in beds.
Mm. The funnest
I,
spot.
the bed is the one that I've seen images and videos. There was one time,
I would
and I
never
don't
feel
know.
safe in my bed again.
No, yeah, I would move. Like it's kind of like when you ever hear the story or see the memes where it's like a spider is in the corner of your like that
Yeah.
spider owns the your home. That's it. Just move. Um, I've seen where there was a guy sleeping on the train,
Mm-hmm.
and a rat was on him
Yeah.
and he woke up. But what the stunning part is that he didn't react. Like he was just like, "Oh snap, okay, get it off me," and then he just went back to sleep. And I'm like, that's
Mm-mm.
not normal. You gotta
Mm-mm.
react normal. Like that dude is not human. That's an alien living amongst us. He did not react like a normal. That was not a normal reaction.
Hmm.
So I've seen that, and then I saw the images of like, and it's not rats; these are mice, but still in the same rodent
Mm-mm.
family. These mice were hopping in the bed, like it hopped onto like this
Mm-mm.
couple's bed, and this says a lot. New York is very expensive, but like in places that people can't afford to live, but there's just like really horrible places to live in. They're not being taken care of. They're not the buildings are not up to code and whatnot. They're just like slap a coat of paint on it and we're fine.
Yeah.
How are you getting these rats in here, these mice in here, roaches, all of the above? It may be a city problem, but it's like it could also just be a landlord problem, and that could just be me speculating and having my
I
own
I
mental
feel
opinion.
like it's both. You know, hopefully this new rat czar is up for the task of like helping control rodents. I mean, they came over, with the mass migration through like Ellis
Time,
Island and like, you know what I mean? Like we've had rat problems in New York ever since settling New York and ever since everyone coming over. Like I can't imagine in my lifetime that it'll get even marginally better. Like we're just
yeah,
too overpopulated. Unless we're gonna gas the entire city, like just have a citywide
like
evacuation.
pull a Avengers one, just nuke the place,
Yeah,
go with
gas it
gas,
with all the anti rodent stuff,
just
and
make
then
sure it's
everyone
human
move back
safe.
in. Like I just feel like this wouldn't happen.
It'd be a mass exodus. This would be another
Yeah,
event for New
yeah.
York. No, but yeah. So this is I'm not gonna go through many quotes here, but this is just the
Mm,
one quote that made me laugh. So this is a person in Brooklyn. In a second floor apartment in Pacific Street in Brooklyn, a graphic designer lifted her kitchen garbage bag when she said a rat leaped out, quote unquote, parkoured off my leg and disappeared behind the oven. And I was like, park that sounds like Master Splinter right there. Yo, you know what it is too? Because think about it. New York and many places, but New York is known for never finishing. Like the skyline is always building; it's never done
yeah.
being
It's
modeled.
an ever
Because
evolving city.
we're constantly doing stuff. Especially, I forget where, but there was a massive billion or $1 million reconstruction, or not reconstruction, construction on a subway line.
Hmm.
I want to say it's somewhere near 34th Street. But it's like, and it came up in the news, but it looks all new. I passed by it before. Like I was going
Hmm.
through 34th Street in Penn Station. There's like a new section, and I barely missed it, but I didn't see the whole thing, and it's just huge.
Yeah.
You're doing that kind of work. Rats are definitely migrating. Like
Oh
they're
yeah.
gonna move. So like because we keep doing stuff like this, it's gonna happen.
Yeah. And like I was saying, the rat problem in New York, it's here to stay. Okay, so sticking with some like state and federal news, the Supreme Court actually refuses to block $6 billion in student loan debt
You
settlements.
gotta love it.
So another one that's I'm gonna hand it off to you, Jay. But my first my initial reactions to this is like, why why do this to us?
And then remind me again. It's and as I was going through the articles, Biden wanted to only forego up to 20,000, right? 20K.
Something like that. Yeah.
So yeah, even if you have like 78,000 or whatever, your 20 is going to be removed.
But it was, I
So
believe it was 20 per
for an individual,
individual. Yeah,
per
yeah,
individual. So if it's like your couple, then it's
yeah.
40. So I think that's fine because like look, there's this is a touchy subject, excuse me. I like burp. I don't know if the mic caught that. Um there's a fine line and it is a touchy subject. They're like, what about the people that paid? Blah blah
Yeah.
blah. I get it. There are people that are like, no, you don't. Uh, you decided to go to college and do this. You're an
Hmm.
adult. You made the decision. But like reading those contracts are it's the jargon. We speak street. We reading that we just want to go to school, and that's a whole different
It's
subject
also impossible
entirely.
for just anyone unless you are
Yeah,
like fluent in that legalese. Like, there's no
yeah.
way anyone could really
Especially from urban areas,
like
like
have that.
they're gonna look at this like me again. I looked at it. I was like, oh, I understood it. Like it was bittersweet for me, and I don't know if I shared this story where on here before. So I had, and I'll give the numbers. I had before I get into this. I think it was initially up to 80K. I knew I was gonna get 80K
Yeah.
like after college, and that stressed me out. Like, well, I cut my hair, but there's a lot of grays here. I look like Mr. Reed Richards over here, Black Reed Richards, um, and
Creed.
it's
Creed Richards.
Creed Richards, son. Now it stressed me out for like a couple weeks, and then I got out of, we graduated, and I paid for that paper with the golden seal that kind of is moot right now.
Hmm.
And bittersweet moment. I didn't know, and maybe I did, but I knew like I had my mom like kind of helping, like under some of that money was under her name.
Yeah.
So you know bittersweet moment. My mom got sick, she couldn't work anymore, so the
Hmm.
government like just waived half of that.
Yeah.
And that was like that. Thank God that happened, but it's just like, again, we were all relieved. My dad and me, my mom.
Yeah. Of course.
It just came at a price, in a sense, like this universal price, I guess.
Hmm.
So then, and luckily, I'm still now, the other half was me paying for it, so I still had like 40. 5 years later, I'm down to 18. So like,
Nice.
and we've been paused since 2020. So, and I'll be honest, I
Yeah.
have not been paying since 2020 because I'm just been pretending like, oh no, this is because look, think about it.
Same.
I've been using that money that I would have been paying for that for my projects. If I was still paying that, I probably wouldn't even been as far as I am now with when it comes to my art. So going back to this, you know, let me see right here. The Supreme Court will not stop a legal settlement that would cancel more than $6 billion in student loan debt from students who say they were misled by their school. We were just talking about that; they were just misled.
Yeah.
Speaking of my school, or not my school, my what do you call it? The people that take the money, uh, the loan, because there's the loaners and then whatever the people that are supposed to take our money. I had. Navion, now it's changed its name many times. I feel
Oh,
like they've
like
been,
the bank that you're
yeah,
paying back.
yeah. So like,
Yeah.
so I think I've been through three of them, and the
Yeah.
fact that they're just pushing, it's like they're just changing their name so they don't get caught under this. And then I just, I'm never on Twitter. I went on Twitter and I saw people were getting angry for this company, Advantage. That's what they're called,
Hmm.
because they changed their name. They went from Navion to Advantage,
Hmm.
and people that were under Navion, a lot of people were their money, their loans were waived, but the people
Hmm.
that were still stuck, me included, got onto Advantage. It's not something I did; it's just something that just happened. So
Yeah.
they're still keeping
The
people,
business. Yeah.
yeah, and then they're trapping these people in here just to get their money back.
Hmm.
But it really sucks that a lot of people um, are still stuck under this. The good thing, though, slowly but surely, like there's like cracks in this wall wall of loans or whatever.
Hmm.
There are people that are being freed from the loan shackles. I want to read this real quick. So a total of 151 institutions have students impacted by the settlement, and three who challenged the suit. Lincoln Educational Services, American National University, and Everglades College have about 3,500 students eligible for loan relief. So there's other places that have the loans waived, but
Yeah.
this is not moving fast enough.
No.
Um, and people are still stuck on it. So I'm wondering if people are like me, where they're taking advantage of this pause and then just investing it, art, school, children, all the stuff that's not for the government. I hope they're doing that, but I just don't know how many people are.
For me, I think it's gonna have a massive. I mean, we're already technically, I think, like in the beginnings of a recession, but
Yeah,
we're gonna see a recession if we aren't already in one. We're gonna see a recession happen because once those hit, we've been living life now without them, and I have to imagine the majority of the public is taking advantage of not paying them back. So, like, I feel like that it'll do more hurt now that it hasn't been a mandatory thing for so long. So, like, for me, like, remember, inflation has also gone up in these 3 years. So the
yeah,
dollar stretches even less. So, in reality, like, maybe those who aren't putting money towards, like, creative pursuits, they could just be putting money towards life, living, surviving, because
yeah,
what it's gotten to that point. Like, I know for me, I make a decent living, and we've been able to afford nice things and take care of, like, bills as they come up. But year over year it gets harder and harder. I've gotten different promotions, and I've jumped different levels, and I'm still tackling the same bills.
yeah,
Like, yeah, I got a little bit of a, like, breathing room, but, like, if I was to get the student, like, I guess, start the repayments on the student
yeah,
loans, it would hurt. You know, I would feel that in my bank account, and it would make life that much harder.
yeah.
So I don't know what's happening with this. I really hope that it passes, and we can start the slate clean. Um, but yeah, because it's just not fair.
Yeah. There's a lot of, and this could we can break this down into in a different time,
Yeah,
but there's this also conversation of where our money is going. I did see a blurb on how much we're wasting as a country. Specifically, the
yeah,
government is wasting our money, giving money to Israel, Ukraine. Like they definitely need help, but they're throwing too much money over there because
mm-hmm.
not. It's like where are they? They had this money this whole time.
Yeah,
They're obligated to help these countries, mind you. Sometimes whatever the country touches doesn't look good after the fact, and we could have put it into schools. We could have put it into they always talk about this. This is every time there's a what do you call it, when they're voting for a new president. That's always a conversation, and that's
yeah.
always they're like, oh, we're going to put our money into this, but it's like you're lying every year, and we're never getting a truth. And I feel like the people I that I look at are the people on the ground. I just mentioned AOC because she's the most popular person that we can, like,
Mm-hmm.
she's more recognizable, but she's on the ground compared to like someone like Biden or anyone up there because they're not on the ground. They're not going to see this. And they're just listening to numbers and facts from people that are somewhat on the ground, but not really. So again, that's a different conversation. But yeah, I,
Yeah, it's
I
it's
again, I get it. Yeah, go ahead.
it's rough to it's rough to see, like, when you're, and it doesn't matter your political alignments, but um one thing that I agree with is, like, yes, we need to help, our allied nations, or, whatever foreign countries need help outside the US, but at the
Yeah,
same time, I think in order to do that, we need to make
we
sure
need
the
to help
US is
ourselves.
good.
Yeah,
Like, we can't the US cannot continue to help if the US isn't around. So let's make sure the US is good, and then we can continue those charitable and noble pursuits, helping
yeah,
other countries. But, like, where we need right now, especially, like, the national debt is in the trillions. Like,
yeah.
why are we?
High trillions, not
Yeah,
just like we just broke the ceiling. No, we're up there. We're
I
lost.
think we're like 6 trillion or something. Like, we cannot even hope to pay that back. Like, how are we staying competitive? How, like, where is the investing in education, debt relief, bolstering citizens? Like,
And that just ties into other
capitalism
stuff. Yeah,
capitalism is really cool for people that it works out for,
yeah,
and it's really crappy for the rest. So
yes.
let's tie a bow on that. It's not a pretty one, but It's something
It's
that
something to
needs to be
think about.
discussed. It needs to be discussed and needs to be thought about. It affects us as we move on. So, jumping into some more fun stuff. One of the big items this week is that Superman Legacy, the
Yes.
Superman film being done by James Gunn, has started pre-production. So
Also,
we're talking about scripts, costumes, like literally right before the actual production of people like reading lines and stuff, like in front of a camera. That's where they're in right now. But script is done, and they are getting ready for what is it? Production design, costumes, and a bunch of other fun stuff.
and all that stuff, getting the actors. But before we
Mm-hmm.
like super dive into that, just because that's gonna be kind of a nugget. But honorable mention, it is the anniversary of Superman. Uh, Correct me if I'm wrong, because I always switch it up. Is 1938, right? That was the birth of Superman,
Yeah, I believe so.
and I think it was 41 was Batman. I always, or it was 39. I forget. But anyway, it's the anniversary of Superman. Like him or hate him, gotta respect the dude. He's historical. Not a big fan
Absolutely.
of Superman. I will defend his honor, no matter what it is. And we can, Justin knows there's a reason why he laughs. But
So we will
yes, go ahead.
all defend the honor of Superman if need be. But
Mhm.
so James Gunn tweeted out a photo of the cover of the script, confirming that everything's in pre-production.
Yep,
Um,
yep.
it's apparently slated to hit theaters July 11th, 2025. Uh, Gunn has already said that he's the only writer on the script. He's writing the full script, and that it won't have the same vibes as past projects he's done, like Guardians of the Galaxy or anything like that. So
Or Suicide
I'm
Squad, all those things.
yeah, I'm happy to hear that. It's supposed to it's supposed to focus on that what is it, duology of man,
Yeah, it's a
right?
duology. I believe it was something like that. And again, Snyder, for all his greatness, it's not going to be the dark, gritty going to Hope. I think it's just
No,
going to start with the Hope. Um, both are great on their own right, but
yeah,
we're gonna see this different take. I'm sure it's also stepping away from the not Reed Richards.
Christopher Reeves.
What's Christopher Reeves? I say I'm still got Reed Richards in the mind here. Christopher Reeves, that's Superman. Richard Donner, that's what Richard Donner, the director. That's so many names. See all this knowledge that I have. I could be acing tests right now. But anyway, yeah, it's not gonna have that vibe. It's gonna be something different. And again, I look forward to it. I'm not hyped until I see the product. That's all I
Yes,
say.
same. It's like I said, it's supposed to be doing that like duology of man thing. Um, Superman balancing his Kryptonian heritage as well as his human upbringing. I feel like it might be a more low key, grounded story from hearing those words. I can't
I think of
imagine.
American Alien. If you ever read that, it's
Yeah,
so good. If you ever read
I
that,
feel like it'll
that's
be like that, a little more grounded. Like I can't imagine we'll see like a Brainiac come in. You know what I mean? Like nothing too
I
crazy.
couldn't go as far I can see as far as Metallo. That would be a good villain because you
Hmm.
can bring in Kryptonite like that.
No,
But again,
no. But before we continue speculating, we got to wrap it up. We don't want
yeah,
to get
yeah,
hyped before the hype is due. So,
exactly.
speaking of getting hyped, I'm actually kind of hyped about this.
I'm cautiously hyped
Taika Waititi is moving forward with a live action Akira. So, why are you cautiously hyped? Because that sentence makes me very hyped.
because two things, and you know why. I've been a fan of
True.
Akira since for a long time before college.
Hmm.
Um, up, Also, I've been a fan of the anime. Just to get that straight,
Yeah.
I read the manga for the first time 2 months ago.
Hmm.
Um, but having read the manga, I'm wondering how he can do it. I believe it. I think what needs to happen because of all his movies, they need to be a little more toned down when it comes to comedy. Like even toned down from Ragnarok.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Um, Akira does have comedy, but it's very like Japanese comedy. Like it's a
Hmm.
different type of comedy. It's like their humor is different, and I'm sure he can touch on those. My only thing is, please don't whitewash. That's all I ask.
Yeah.
There's this kid who was in Supernatural. I forget his name. He was this Asian kid who was like a side character for a bit,
Hmm.
recurring character, and I followed him for a bit, and then I remember him doing a Akira project. It was just like a trailer, so they shot a
Hmm.
whole trailer, and he was in it. And just doing a live action means like, oh, Akira can be done live action. I'll put a link below, in whenever people watch. This will be on YouTube. Um, it looked really good. I was like, oh, Akira live is possible. Just don't whitewash it because it's literally it takes place in Japan. Don't do a Warriors in LA in 2023. Like, don't give me that. Don't give me. Well, they did White Man Can Jump, but like, don't give me that in the modern day. Just give me the classic. Like, put it in the 80s. Make them all Japanese. Americans are involved, so you can have
Yeah.
Americans in there. Just don't. That's all I'm cautioning. There's nothing to see.
Hmm.
And I have nothing against Taika. He's never let me down, and also it's not his fault for Love and Thunder. So, and that's what I'll say. But why are you hyped?
I'm hyped because I like Taika, and I think if he isn't pigeonholed into the comedy thing, that he could really take on this project. He's somebody who takes pride in his work, and I think he's has the right temperament to kind of like dive into the source material and really bring out something cool.
Oh yeah,
Um,
I
I
believe that.
I do. I guess I am cautious also now that hearing you talk about it because it will have to get toned down a lot from his comedy. Like like it can't even be like you said like Ragnarok. It needs to be its own thing. I can see some of the comedy happening. I'm assuming it's going to be an English speaking movie. I doubt that they're going to have Japanese like audio going. Um,
Yeah.
but I can see some comedy moments happening, like when the biker gang is together, seeing that like camaraderie, kind of like
Yes.
messing around.
When the
Yeah,
gang members are. I say gang members, but the crew, when they're around, they talk. There's comedy there.
yeah. But outside of that, it's a very serious movie. So especially like from rising action to the end, like you're talking about the latter 2/3 of that movie is
Yeah.
very serious.
Yeah, I
So.
would even go as far as like, because the source of material does exist. Again, last time we spoke in our rap, I mentioned how like reading the book earwormed its way in my brain, burrowed and
Mhm.
stayed there for a long time, longer than the movie. Both the movie is great, the book is great. The way the movie works is it's like the first book and then
Mhm.
the last book. Mind you, the last book never came out. It came out after the movie
Mhm.
because it wasn't done yet. So there is a lot of source material. There's enough space to do a different adaptation.
Mhm.
Um, I also have you seen Jojo Rabbit?
Bits and pieces, not the full movie.
So if you can recall or if you can remember thoroughly, I would say watch it again. But I see he can do it.
Yeah, like there's serious
So
stuff that he's tackled.
yeah, so he can do it. It's just lay off the comedy. Like again, because there's this bad taste in the Marvel community when it comes to
Hmm.
Love and Thunder. I think he needs to. Again, not a lot of Marvel fans are going to know Akira or even care for Akira, so they probably wouldn't care.
Yeah,
Um, again, I have no opinions. I'm just cautiously optimistic or hyped, whatever.
gotcha. No, and I agree. I mimic that. I think those are very valid things that we need to keep in our heads as we hear more about Akira as more news comes out and everything. Speaking about more news about upcoming movies, Wicked director John Chu has finally shared a first look at the witches that will be featured. So we had Ariana Grande's. It's like it's Glinda. Ariana Grande's Glinda, and
Mhm.
then the Wicked Witch of the West, which is Alphaba, I believe. I think that's how you pronounce it. But we got kind of like a look at it, and it's John Chu tweeted this out a couple days ago, and it's side by side. Glinda has that like super bubblegum pink dress, and it's Ariana Grande's in it. She's blonde, and then the Wicked Witch of the West has that classic Wicked Witch, green skin, black, and it even looks like she's in the tower from The Wizard of Oz.
Okay.
So we're getting little bits of like, I guess it's kind of more like a mood board almost of what we're seeing. Like they are actual images of the characters, but it's giving us the moods of each of these characters. So I'm excited for this. I never got to see Wicked on Broadway, so
Yeah, I was just gonna ask you that. Yeah.
I never got to see it. It was something that I wanted to see. Never got to see it. I've heard the soundtrack a bunch of times. Everyone knows the song Popular. Like I want to see how this comes out. As someone who was actually a fan of Sam Raimi's prequel, The Great and Powerful Oz with James Franco and Vanessa Hudgens,
Mm,
or no, James Franco and Mila Kunis. I enjoyed that a lot, and I enjoyed the new take on the characters. It was
mm.
a darker, more,
Very Sam Raimi.
yeah. It was like Sam Raimi. Yeah, it wasn't over the top in like that Sam Raimi way. It was actually very grounded, and it dealt more with the temperament of humans and what happens. So it was cool. It's a movie about like a failed romance, really. It's
I had to
it's
check that out.
it's good. I enjoyed it a lot. It didn't do too hot when it came out, but I enjoyed it for what it was. And if this is just gonna be more of that type of that breathing in this emotional kind of like darker connection between people and emotions, I'm all for it.
Okay.
But that did come out 2 days ago, is when John Chu shot that into the intersphere.
The-
Then, speaking about something who got shot into the intersphere, we have the Continental, a Peacock original 3-part event that is a John Wick story, right? Or a John Wick
It's a,
event is what they're calling it.
it's a takes place in the John Wick universe, I believe,
Yeah.
and I don't know why. It's because it is John Wick.
So
It's his world.
it's so
Think about
weird
it.
because literally they call it a John Wick event, which
Yeah.
is like a weird way to do that. But yes, it's in that world. It's the Continental. It's the hotel where all the hitmen like. It's like this big green zone for all the hitmen and women, and it's actually going to be taking place in the 1970s. Whole different cast of characters. It was a teaser trailer, so we didn't get much. Just a lot of clips of different characters and not a lot of lines connecting the dots, really. But
Yeah.
it seems like it could take on and I know we talked about this off air, but it could take on like an anthology vibe.
Yeah.
Like
Like
maybe,
it's just for now. It's just a mini series.
yeah, yeah. For now, it is a 3-part miniseries, and it's exclusive to Peacock. Like I said, it looks cool. Production looks like it's up there. Like it looks like it's gonna be a good time. I hope the action is more of the same, and we get some fun story, like to
Yeah.
kind
I
of
hope
break
it's
down
not
the
as like
Continental.
yeah. I hope it's not like in a sense cheesy where like when it comes to the
Yeah.
choreography, because you see like in the John Wick movies, it's very modern, like the way they fight and
Yes.
everything. I hope they don't lean into like, oh, it's the '70s vibe. It's this kung fu '70s. Like I hope it seemed from the trailer. It
Hmm.
seems very like contact choreography.
Hmm.
Um, but it would be dope if I could tell the difference because of the timeline. That
Hmm.
would be cool to me if you could kind of illustrate that into the. I was going to say the movie, the silver screen, but it's going to be on
Well,
streaming.
I feel like a big way that they could do that is like the fashion and the weapons. I think
Yeah, yeah,
those two things when it
that
comes
was
to the fight scenes and the choreography, those are going to be like the eye candies that we get that will help differentiate the fighting style because it'll have to go hand in hand, right?
yeah,
So
yeah.
maybe stuff that isn't so sleek, maybe more wood opposed to metal, like
Oh yeah, yeah.
so that I think I'm with you there. I would like to really see the difference between the two. Like I want it to be
That'd be really
highlighted.
cool. Yeah, I wish I was on there.
Do
On there,
you?
no, no, no. It's like that meme. It reminded me. I saw this video. It's like, oh, not video. It was a picture. It shows like a destroyed car, and the caption was like, "I turned around just to go into the grocery store. Turned around 5 seconds later, and it's like, damn it, Hulk."
Yeah, yeah. Like
It's one of those. I don't want to
li-
be caught in the middle of that.
living in these worlds would be absolutely hell. It would not. You couldn't enjoy
Insurance would be through
anything.
the roof.
Insurance would be crazy. Like you would just you'd be even more scared for your life than you already are every day. Like it's
Yeah.
just like you would never know. One more series that's entering production, which I'm pretty happy about, is oh bless you, Jay,
Thank you.
is Knuckles. Knuckles from Sonic the Hedgehog fame has started production. It's gonna be a Paramount Plus exclusive, and
Indeed.
they put on so they had the like what's the little thing, the clicky clacker. It like marks the scenes and stuff, and like when they
Yeah,
say
yeah. The marker. I
action,
believe it's called a marker. I could be wrong.
is it? It might be marker, yeah, because they yell that out, right? Like marker, right? Am I wrong?
Yeah.
Why you fact check that? So on the
Yeah. I'll
marker
do
there
that.
was a cowboy hat, and for those normie losers that don't know their Sonic and Knuckles heritage,
Yeah. Called a marker clapper or scene marker.
scene marker. That's the thing I was thinking about. So there is a character that has a cowboy hat, and he's been um whatchamacallit, he's been like absent from
The franchise.
the Sonic franchise as a whole for a while. They did a nod to him in the first Sonic movie where he's in a disguise. He has a cowboy hat with like that poncho.
Don't recall. Was it in the when in the previous world?
It was in the first one. No, he was. I don't remember if it
This
was in the first or the
normally
second one. Actually, now that I think about it,
I can't remember because if it was it a flashback, that's what I mean. Like, was it a
no, it wasn't a
flashback?
flashback. It was during. It might actually been in the second movie when they're in that bar, him and Tails, before the dance
I
scene.
would have to rewatch that scene again because
So
I don't recall.
he wears a cowboy hat and a poncho as like a disguise in one of the movies. And I remember being there and I was like, "Oh, that's just cool." So the character is called Knack the Weasel or Fang the Sniper, I think is the Japanese one, but Knack the
Okay.
Weasel is the character. And he's been absent forever, but if I remember correctly, he was actually in Knuckles Chaotix,
Okay.
I think. And that was like that was the Knuckles game that didn't include Sonic. It was Knuckle and a bunch of other team members. It had like a different gameplay style and stuff like that. But yeah, he's been gone since then, and there's been other things where he's been like a wanted sign. I think in Sonic Adventures, he's little Easter eggs. But him coming in, he's literally like a sniper. He's like a what's it called? He's a cowboy, but he has that like he kind of like does like the pistol stuff. I forgot
Like a
what it's.
gun.
Yeah, he's like a gun. He's like a gunman.
He's a gun toting.
Yes, exactly.
Yeah. Okay.
So seeing him kind of go up against Knuckles would be fun. We still
Yeah.
don't know what the Knuckles series is. The heavily rumored guess is going to be Knuckles Chaotix. It makes the most sense. Knuckles already got introduced.
Yeah.
He'll go off, have his own adventure. This could be a flashback to like who he was before, and then merging it with current times. But that has been Paramount tweeted out again. Been a lot of activity on Twitter recently. I've been noticing that a lot of people took a break because of all the chaos that was on Twitter.
The
But
Elon Musk stuff. But
yeah,
yeah, that
but
saga is still continuing, people.
but I've been noticing a lot of news has been breaking through Twitter again. But yeah, so Paramount Plus tweeted out the photo, the scene marker, clicker clacker, with the cowboy hat on top. So fun little hint at what's coming next. I can't wait for it. Idris
Oh yeah.
Elba's
Idris Elbos.
Idris's Knuckles was absolutely fantastic. So I
Oh
can't
yeah,
wait.
perfect voice casting. Like he was literally born to the Big Bang of the universe to play Knuckles. Like Knuckles the character and Idris were just coming close
Yes.
in time.
Is it
But no, I'm
perfect
we're gonna
merging?
perfect merger, the merger. No, I'm loving this. I love that all these franchises are copying Star Wars when it comes to storytelling.
Hmm.
And using Knuckles as that bridge is great.
Yeah.
And they
And
announced it when two came out, when Sonic
mhm.
Two came out. But like, it's perfect.
It's absolutely perfect. Talking about another series that's coming to Paramount Plus, Galaxy Quest is receiving a TV show, a cult classic fan favorite, Galaxy Quest from 2000, no, 1999.
Yeah, I
That
knew it
was
was really close.
a film done it led by Tim Allen and oh my gosh, the late Alan Rickman,
Yeah,
also with Sigourney Weaver. So it was
Sigourney
a big
Weaver.
sci-fi movie that was a spoof on other sci-fi movies, but it wasn't a spoof movie in terms of like scary movie or something like that. It
Yeah,
followed some washed-up actors from a show called Galaxy Quest, and they end up actually going into space and living out like some of the plots from the show that they were on. Like I think it took place in the 80s or something like that, but it was in the modern 2000s. So it was just fun to see that. Um, I don't know if we're gonna see any of the cast members come back. I sincerely doubt it. Um,
it depends too, because it's like one of those things where they're gonna have Easter egg characters show up, or
yeah,
Easter like cameos. Um, it sucks to say this, but you know how like when stars get famous, they only do movies. But Tim Allen, from what I last recalled, he's just been doing TV, Last Man Standing, so he's not
yeah, I think so.
like as famous, and which is weird to me because I always had him and Tom Hanks in the same space because of Toy Story, but Tom Hanks is Papa America,
Yeah,
so Tim Allen is just on the small screen now, which I'm not trying to like make fun of him for that. It's just like that's where he's been.
yeah,
So I
he's
could
just
see him
pivoted that
making a
way.
cameo. I could see him making a cameo in this show.
Yeah. So yeah, so that's coming. This broke through Variety and Hollywood Reporter, but we don't know what the plot's gonna be. We don't even know when it's gonna hit the streaming service. We just know that it is in early development. Early development meaning that they're still penning the script. So we don't even
Yeah,
know what direction this is going in. But I do know that there's a pretty big fan base for Galaxy Quest, and I know that it's something that paid homage to Star Trek's and Star Wars and other sci-fi nerdiness that everyone can kind of like glob onto. So
yeah,
I'm happy to see this because I think it would do really. It'd be almost like the Orville, I think.
I can see
Just
that. Yeah,
maybe
yeah,
with an
yeah.
added layer of comedy. So I would give this a watch for sure. I really
Oh
enjoyed
yeah,
the movie when it came out. I would definitely give this a watch. So everyone, keep it on your radars as we hear some more news come from it. So
excellent.
from one streaming service to another, we're gonna jump from Paramount Plus Mountain over to the Netflix Gorge. So Netflix, I don't know if you heard about this, Jay, but I was actually, I guess, took part in it on this past Sunday. So Netflix
Yeah.
was doing a live reunion special for their latest
Hmm.
season of Love Is Blind. So this is the first
That I
time
heard
that
of.
this was the first time that they were doing a live episode. They typically film the reunion and then let it go live, like I don't know, however many days, weeks, months later. But they release it in sections the season, so it's like three sections, and then they'll drop the reunion like a week after the last episode or whatever. So
Yeah.
this time around, they were doing it live from studio, so they were gonna have everyone there. This literally broke the internet and Netflix's servers, I guess, for a little bit
Yeah.
because it took them about 2 hours to finally get it working. So they were supposed to go live at 8 o'clock.
Hmm.
Couple minutes into 8 o'clock, they were like, oh, 15 more minutes, we're dealing with some traffic issues, blah, 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 blah. Then it turned to like 45 more minutes. And then around 10:30, they were like, we're just going to record this and then put it up. So everyone was actually gypped out of seeing it live At least everyone in the U.S., I believe, was gypped out of seeing it live, and they had to wait and watch it, after they put it up at 12 in the morning or whatever. But
That makes a lot of sense
it was a
because
big deal. It's a big show with a huge following. So
yeah,
Netflix actually got like a lot of like flack from it. So
and you want to know why? Before you continue, I was trying to watch Beef,
mm,
so it didn't just affect that show. I was trying to watch Beef, another show that had nothing to do with it. So it was crashing the server itself
yeah,
or Netflix itself. So like I was there, I kept playing, I kept clicking, it just didn't load. I would play an anime or One Piece or some shit. Oh, sorry, cursed. Leave that out. And then it wasn't playing. So I was like, why is this happening? But then a day or two later, Gabby told me, he's like, oh, the live thing was happening then.
yeah.
But now that you're telling me that it ended up just being a pre-recorded thing, it's
Yeah,
funny.
it got so bad where they literally just couldn't do it live. And they apologized in the show. We watched it yesterday, me and my wife. We were there live as this was happening, and like she had me refreshing it every couple minutes, clicking the button to make sure it would go. But yeah, it got so bad that they had to kill the live aspect. Netflix released a statement saying like they're sorry and all that. But during the debacle, a bunch of companies actually took it upon themselves to like throw shade at Netflix and Love Is Blind. So they
Oh wow.
had their Instagram live was set up, and it was like a big like a coming soon screen, like it was like they were about to go live with the show.
Yeah.
So they were live on Instagram, and millions of comments were flying by. Different companies were making fun of them. Blockbuster jumped in and made fun of them, saying how like this is what you get when you like when you don't go into the store or something. It was like, you remember when you used to come into the store and then you could start whatever you wanted to watch whenever you wanted to. Like this is what you get when you go straight to streaming. Um,
That's,
there was a couple of things, a couple of different companies. There was like makeup companies. I think Nike jumped in there at one point. But yeah, everyone was just throwing jabs at Netflix, and I feel like this came at one of the worst possible times for Netflix
mhm.
because Netflix has just been like
It's
messing
been, yeah,
up.
as you're describing, they've just been getting. I imagine Netflix on a ring, and they're just getting beat up in a boxing ring, getting beat up.
Yeah,
When technically, in a boxing ring, it's only one versus one. But I felt like a bunch of boxers just came up and beat up constantly. To this day, it's just beating up Netflix, and it's like, when is Netflix going to get back up? When is going to have its Creed moment?
yeah,
Um,
and
and
I
again,
don't.
I'm not like right now. Netflix is kind of in a doghouse for me, but I
Mhm.
am kind of rooting from not be a giant again, but to be back in the stratosphere with everyone else.
It's just like I don't know. All the we had layoffs, then we had all the
Password stuff,
cancellations. We
the
had the
cancellation.
password stuff, the ad supporting stuff. Um, it's so much now that we had this. First time they want to do a live reunion on one of their tent pole shows, they can't do it. We even heard like rumblings that Blockbuster is going to be returning in full effect as a streaming service. So like, how much room is there for Netflix? There's licenses with Netflix expiring left and right, and everyone putting their stuff on their streaming services.
Yeah.
Like there,
Remember a long time ago when Nickelodeon was partnering with Netflix, and then
yeah.
boom, Paramount. So it's like that sucks.
I mean, Marvel, and then boom, Disney Plus.
Yeah.
They're losing things left and right. They're canceling their own shows after one season, even when they do good. You know,
Oh, speaking of, this is kind of like sidebar, but still Netflix. So I heard a blurb that One Piece is not doing so hot because
on
people got to see it. People got to see a little bit of it.
oof,
People were either confused or didn't like it.
mm,
So it's like the only people that will get it is only One Piece fans. But it's
yeah.
like I think they really picked out like people that don't know nothing about One Piece.
Mm.
So
Well, that's the point, right? You have to make it accessible for new people because you
oh
can't
yeah, so
rely
I
on
feel
just
like
the old fan base.
yeah. So but the thing is, yeah, you can't because most definitely the fan base is gonna hate it. Um, I'm still gonna watch it just because it's a One Piece thing. And also, the reason I'm kind of going off tangent. The reason I'm hopping in on this is because Oda has his foot in this.
Yeah,
or foot, hand, whatever, an appendage in this. So I'm just like, I'm gonna give it a shot.
Hmm.
Same thing I did with Cowboy Bebop, but the thing is, Netflix is infamous for just canceling stuff, and I'm sure they will.
Yeah,
I'm
and
sure
yeah,
they will.
this is gonna be a one season
How much
thing. They're gonna
money that money?
cancel it. Yeah, they're hemorrhaging money constantly, constantly. They're
I'm
worried
still
too
waiting for
much
the studio.
about their originals and all that. They need to cut that out. And it's these things that are happening. It sucks because it is like month after month there's a new problem, and as we've seen in the past when companies face things like this, like they don't usually survive.
Yeah,
Netflix is really big and it's been around for a little bit, but we said that about Blockbuster. So,
it's one of those things where I'm like, a couple of things. Like, if I ever make it into, like, when people start to recognize what I'm doing,
mhm.
I feel like I will forgo working with Netflix. Like, it's like, oh,
Oh
it's your
yeah,
shot, but I'm like, I'm kind of like, I don't want to go in there because first of all, you're infamous for canceling stuff. And what if like Netflix goes down? Like, you're taking my show with you. So I'm kind of
yep.
like, I'm gonna stay away from that. I'll stick with Apple TV right now. They're pretty safe.
So, speaking about things that are big, right?
Yes,
One of the
the
biggest
opposite
things,
of Apple.
one of the biggest things that's surging through the internet is the song "Peaches" by Jack Black's Bowser from the Super Mario Brothers movie.
Wait, not
Uh,
Tenacious D?
Not Tenacious D, but fun fact: it debuted at number 83 on this week's Hot 100 Billboard charts. So this is officially a Hot 100 song. Like, it is on the Billboard charts, and it's like it's crazy. It's also fun fact: Jack
Jack,
Jack
Jack
Black's
Black.
first career solo song to appear on the chart. He previously charted with "Pick of Destiny" back in 2006.
Yo, that was the song.
So, but beyond that, he hasn't, and this is his first solo song to hit the top 100.
Yeah,
It just,
after seeing the movie, I was looking for the song, but it was not on. But I'm like, usually when movies are coming out, the soundtrack comes out first.
yeah,
But I guess because of the popularity, this like it hit the music apps, and it surged, like you said. And a lot of people on the internet is like, I can't believe this is still stuck in my head. I posted, it's like when you listen to the song and it's trash, but it's actually like, no, like I know the feels.
yeah.
It's
Pieces,
very
peaches,
relatable.
peaches, peaches, peaches. It's so funny. And the other thing that I found out is that it's actually on vinyl. Like, it got released as a
No
7 inch. Yeah.
way.
So one
That's funny.
side, one side is Peaches, and the other side is the Mario Brothers rap from the commercial.
Nice.
So
The B side, I would
yeah.
say.
So well, hold on. The A side is A side is Peaches and B side is the rap. But
The
yeah,
youngins don't know about that.
it's a single on vinyl. Just FYI, if
I
anyone
like
wants
it.
to check it out. But
For a collector of vinyl, definitely check it. That's great. I
it's
love it.
so
I love it
funny.
for him.
But yeah, it's a thing, and I mean it's great. What is it? It also is still holding the top spot at the theaters, and on top of that, it broke the record for Illumination and animated um,
Beating
movie.
Frozen.
Yeah, for opening weekend.
Yes.
So it's a pretty big deal. I'm happy that it's going as well as it is.
Yeah, same because then it could course correct in when it comes to story for their next
Yeah,
movie.
exactly.
Again, I would say this movie was weak when it came to story, but
And
you got to get that money.
when we did our most anticipated with um, oh my goodness, the show
Film and spirit
with Film and Spirits
with our
podcast.
crossover episode.
Yes, our
Yeah.
crossover episode. Um, this was one of my most anticipated movies of the year, and specifically because I was like optimistic about the impact that it would have. And I'm happy to say that I think it's having this impact, right? Although the movie was shorter than we wanted, it's not a perfect movie, but it's a fantastic movie, great video game movie, has the single that's out there, it's broken two records, and it's getting attention from everyone, you know? this is what I wanted from that movie. That means that we're gonna get better quality projects going forward, especially when it comes
And
to
then we're gonna
video
get the
IP.
Super Smash Bros. Movie. So I called
Yes,
it. A lot of people are talking about it, but guess who called it first? I called it first here. Since Sonic One, I said we're gonna get a Super Smash Bros. Movie.
we're not.
No, we're gonna get it
Okay.
because I said so, and I
Okay.
will pin that. I will. We just got to get a Kirby movie done first.
Yes. Oh my God, I want a Kirby
Like Kirby
movie.
needs to be the lead with Mario.
I would if we ever actually got a Super Smash Brothers movie,
When we get it, yeah.
Kirby would be the most in my head the most believable protagonist. Like he would have to be the main character. Not only because he's literally the main character in Super Smash
In
Brothers
the end,
Ultimate, like
yeah,
but because it's another it's another brainchild of Sakurai, the creator of Smash
yeah.
Brothers, and on top of that, he's such a dumb, aloof character.
Well, and it would work too because it's like it's two ways. Because yes, it is the brainchild, but it's like as a person viewing it, we're viewing it from Kirby's eyes, and that could be just his first time in this world. He doesn't
Yeah,
even need his own movie; he could just appear.
yeah,
We know what Kirby does. He sucks things, get their powers, and that's it. And
yeah.
he's aloof, as you said.
So it would be a really easy character for the viewer to latch onto and
Facts.
experience, like you said, the movie through him.
And
So
he's cute. You're gonna buy those
oh,
plushies
if
left and
he
right.
comes out, if they do a Kirby movie, the amount of merchandise that I would buy from that Kirby movie would
I
be
would look at your background.
it would
They'll all be
change
just Kirby.
completely.
It wouldn't even be Spider. It would be instead of Spider-Man poster, it'd be Kirby. Instead of Deadpool, all those things. It's just all Kirby, but in those spaces. I
They would
probably have a
they would
Kirby
make
right here.
so much money. But
Yeah.
anyway, talking about making money, Warner Brothers Games tweeted out yet again. There's another tweet. Um, announcing Harry Potter Quidditch Champions. Testing signups are now open. It's going to be for the beta of the game. Apparently, it's been in development for several years at Unbroken Studio, which was also lending a hand in developing Suicide Squad: Kill the Justice League.
Ooh,
Um,
it's a little like a little red flag there, but okay.
why? Kill the Justice
Because
League?
yeah, recent news that they got delayed again.
Oh, well, I mean, I'd
And
rather
also
get
because
delayed and be good.
it got delayed, and also there was a lot of like people are like ill about it. So if because of its recent reception and then it
Hmm.
getting delayed, it's just not a good look. Just to have that name around that. But anyway, I digress. Go
Gotcha. So
ahead.
now, here's where this somewhat grinds my gears.
I was literally going to say those exact words. They're grinding your gears right now.
So,
Go ahead, Peter.
what did we want in Hogwarts Legacy that we didn't get? The one thing we didn't get because that game is beyond
I
perfect in
believe
every other aspect.
we wanted a sports game in
Okay.
the Hogwarts game so we can play multiplayer together.
So we wanted that sports game, sports ball called Quidditch. So
Yes.
what is bothersome is, while they did explain in the game why Quidditch isn't available, it makes sense. Now this is like, to me, this is accepting the fate that we're not gonna get Quidditch in Hogwarts, because now we're talking about cannibalizing WB properties, and I doubt WB is gonna do that.
Yeah.
So it's this one. It seems like it is an actual standalone Quidditch experience. It's a sports game. There's nothing else to it, just like the Quidditch games of the past.
I'm
Um,
surprised EA didn't do it.
yeah,
EA Quidditch. It's in this Quidditch or in the sport.
it's in
Whatever.
the
I don't
broom.
know. Exactly.
So it's cool, that it's happening. It's more of like it kind of looks like a Fortnite type game, like in terms of literal like graphics and stuff. A little more cartoony. It's not as realistic as Hogwarts Legacy, but I don't know why, but that vibe just came up when I was looking at it. Just how the characters are animated and everything. So I mean, it's supposed to be competitive multiplayer. Um, fine, but
Right. As you sit there looking at it, you're just like, ah, this harangues
like
my
I'm
soul.
not buying this, you know.
Yeah. No.
And I wanted Quidditch, so I don't understand why. If this was like twenty
Like we
dollar,
said,
$30
yeah,
DLC for
like an offshoot.
Legacy, yeah, where it's like we're bringing Quidditch there. It's just a separate game because it's so robust. No complaints.
Yeah,
But the fact that
makes
this
sense.
is a standalone Quidditch game, also like
Different.
when this thing drops, you cannot expect anyone to be paying $70 for this game.
And what was the date? There was no date.
So there's no date right now.
You got to be careful when you're releasing it, because if you release it anytime there's another big game coming, don't blame that game. Don't blame Spider Man. Don't blame Star Wars. Don't blame Wolverine. Like all those future games, you better watch where you're putting those games.
Yeah. So apparently the playtest begins on April 21st, but we don't have anything else for like when it's actually gonna come out. It was literally just announced yesterday, so
Got it. Yeah,
it was like last night too. I think. Well, yesterday afternoon, 12 p.m. Literally noon.
I saw it this morning, so yeah, that makes
So
sense.
so yeah, that's when it was announced. But like, yeah, you know,
It's in the snitch.
yeah, it's. I'm just upset that this is a thing.
No, I agree.
I really wanted
It's
Quidditch, and I mean I hope it still comes, but
it's one of those things too. Like if it probably and I probably would have had Hogwarts a lot sooner if there was this. Like I didn't want a multiplayer thing where I could just play go in your
yeah,
world. Like that would be dope. I would love that. But because you were staying with the single player game, it makes everything a lot better.
yeah,
But to have this Quidditch thing, that would be like, okay, that could be that interactive thing that I could do with you. Like, oh, it's kind of like Pokemon. Pokemon is a single player game, but
hmm
what do you do when you do battles with each other? It's multiplayer. Like
hmm
that could just be its own offshoot. But the world hates us and they don't want to listen to people like us because we're smarter than them and we know what people want. But whatever's.
yeah. It's just like it kind of rings of Super Mario Party, where they finally made it fully online and then dropped,
Which is wild to me.
then right after dropped Mario Party All Stars. So I,
Which
I
could have been
just
one game. I would have paid a little extra for that if you just put it as a down. Like, I'm gonna pay another $60.
to do the thing that it should have been doing from the get go. But we'll see how it goes. I'm not a fan of a standalone Quidditch game. I'm sure some people will get it, but I still want Quidditch to come to Hogwarts Legacy. Moving on to some studio news, Sega apparently has confirmed intentions to purchase Angry Birds developer Rovio. Why?
I don't
Like
know.
Sega, I think Sega does great as a no. Let
Sonic.
me let me let me rephrase
I
that.
just I keep saying Sonic.
Sega does okay in the software business. Sega has been doing okay in the software business ever since going under with hardware. Now, I think Sega needs to stay in their lane and not play
Sonic.
too much
Sonic.
because Sonic, for every three terrible games, we get a good one, and even that good one has a lot of bad like things in it. So them purchasing Rovio, which is they're purchasing it way past the prime. Like Angry Birds had its moment with Angry Birds the game 1 and 2, then it also had the two movies. Like it is
I afraid forgot about that.
it is way past its prime and they're purchasing it. To me that's super weird.
It's
What are
what
they
money? By the way, don't tell me it's a Sonic movie money because that's movie
dude,
money.
$775 million.
They got where they're getting. They're definitely in the drug game.
It
That's all
is.
I'm gonna say.
They are like as of yesterday. They are purchasing Rovio for that much.
I imagine the Sega workers with trench coats. They're just like, we got the Sega consoles right here, bro. Just got a handheld. No one ever got this.
So this was originally reported by Polygon and Wall Street Journal. this is it just blows my mind because what could they possibly gain from this? Sega does okay with their different franchises. Um, I mean, the biggest one clearly is Sonic, but like they've
I
had
feel like they
other.
should have diversed on that too, or not to diversify their portfolio. Like Sonic is their mainstay.
Yeah,
They some I guess they hang on when it comes to like these other games like Super Mario, like all those things, Super Smash Bros. Uh, when it comes to lending the character off, especially
yeah.
when it comes to Nintendo. That's I'm assuming that's where they're getting their money. Uh,
Cause I mean,
but that can't be the only thing, you know.
like they have other stuff that makes money
TV
and
shows,
is
Xbox, all that stuff.
yeah. I'm also pretty sure they're in the what's it called
Movie,
Plinko, right? Plinko
okay,
machines in like
yeah,
Japan.
I guess.
But anyway, some of their well performing franchises, you got Sakura Wars, Streets of Rage, Fantasy Star, Shenmue, Super Monkey Ball, Virtual
Shenmue is a cult
Fighter.
classic, but I'm surprised there's not a lot because they did, I believe, release the latest one. Which I remember that was like people that were fan of Shenmue is like their Kingdom Hearts, and they were
Hmm.
waiting for a long time for the last game.
Yeah.
So I'm surprised there's not more of that. But
Super Monkey Ball, Virtual Fighter,
yeah,
Miku's game,
yeah,
Shin Megami Tensei, and Persona, Yakuza, and then Sonic.
that's not
Those are the biggest franchises that they have. Yakuza does very well, but Yakuza is very much a cult following game. Although it does really
yeah,
good when they come out, like it's not mainstream.
yeah.
Persona 5, you know, broke the ceiling on that franchise with Megami Tensei and Persona. Like those things were very Japanese up until I think Persona 3 or 3 Golden. And then they kind of started to hit mainstream. Persona 5 was like the biggest one to hit.
Yeah.
And Shin Megami Tensei was the same thing. Very Japanese RPG until the later installments. And, you know, then you got other stuff like Super Monkey Ball. Like, I know they just came out with one or they're coming out with a new one. It was in the news recently. Virtua Fighter is a fighting game that everyone like
Yeah.
clamors for whenever they come out with a new one. But Virtua Fighter 5, I think, was the last one. And that, I think, initially released on like 360 and then got like a remaster for uh,
The later one.
PS4 and whatever Xbox
Xbox
number
One.
generation that was. Um,
Xbox 500.
yeah.
Xbox 100.
So yeah, so they have franchises that are good and they make money, but they're not mainstream enough, you know. And as you heard me say, stuff like Streets of Rage, Fantasy Star, Shenmue, like those are
Yeah.
things from like late 80s, early 90s. Like we're
Yeah.
talking about very like
The
old
franchise,
properties.
yeah.
They're like
They're
legacy
very familiar.
properties.
It's just like, yeah, it's only like people like us that are like aware of that.
Exactly.
If the normies wouldn't be like, oh, what the hell is this?
So them buying Rovio after Angry Birds have hit their prime, like this is just a weird move in my head. I don't know what they're gonna do now. If they're gonna just crank out a random
Reboot.
Angry Birds game, like okay, I guess,
And
but
yeah, if they do a good job and it looks dope, like kids will love it. But again, it's like forget the games or even the movie. It's just not cool anymore. Angry Birds, again, you said it's past its prime. If you got it then, and I'm not saying if they had the money then they should have made this decision.
yeah,
But I don't know. They'll surprise us somehow, and it
yeah.
could surprise us in a bad way or a good way.
Okay. So beyond the Angry Birds, you know, characters, Rovio is in the mobile gaming space, so they can use their infrastructure to make Sega mobile games. They
Yeah,
can use their characters to insert, you know, Sonic in the next Angry Birds
which would be dope.
reverse
And I was thinking that, yeah,
reverse that and put the Angry Birds in the next like Sonic Team Racing. Maybe license them out with Nintendo when it comes to Sonic at the Olympic Games, Mario and Sonic at the Olympic Games. So there's a couple things that they could do. It's just a very weird move.
Yeah.
So I felt like we should break that down. But that was our last big, I guess, nugget for the evening. We're gonna run into the weekly wrap, and then we're gonna finish this up. So Jay, what have you been watching, reading, or playing?
Uh, Watching. I've been watching some stuff. I've been, I do my mock Toonami nights,
Mm-hmm.
Adult Swim nights. I watched an episode of Samurai Jack. I actually watched Adventure Time earlier. Um, I was talking to my coworkers about uh, rewatchability on certain animes.
Mm-hmm.
Top five, Full Metal, both Brotherhood and OG,
Never seen them.
Cowboy Bebop. Missing out, bro. Samurai Champloo,
Never
Outlaw Star,
seen.
which I just started. Yeah, I was just thinking like I should revisit that, but I need to chill and go back to my Studio Ghibli because I was
Mm.
like I gotta get back to
Oh, you
that.
never finished the run through you were doing.
And that's something I haven't been talking about, so I want to go
Mm.
back to what I was doing.
I started
Uh,
that too, and I never finished it.
yeah, because I was like, after I finish that, I want to go back. I want to go back to my new favorite. Well, not my new favorite. I love Hayao Miyazaki, but my current modern. I don't know if that's the right word. Animated Japanese director Mamoru. I forget his name. He did Summer Wars. He did one of the Digimon movies. You would recognize his style. He did a One Piece movie. He did Wolf Children, The Beast and the Boy. Oh, and Belle, which I don't know
Oh,
if you saw. Did you see Belle at all?
I did not see it, but it's on my Netflix list
It should be
or
HBO.
HBO, whichever. It's on one of the lists.
Okay, you got to get to it then because Andrew already saw it, so
Mm.
she loved it. So if she loved it, you and Erica would love it. But yeah, I have to get back to that. But right now, what was I watching? I watched an episode of Poker Face. I got to get through that. There's stuff I
Oh,
forgot
I've heard
like
that was great too. I need to watch
yeah,
it.
I saw three episodes in. It's good. I gotta get and yeah. There's a lot of stuff that I gotta watch. But what am I watching? Uh, Restarted New Girl again since it hit Hulu. So I was like, gotta get back on it.
Wait, it's
Uh,
on Peacock now.
it's on Peacock too.
No
Oh, cool.
commercials.
Okay, I'm gonna do that then because I have commercials. I'm still broke. I gotta do that. But yeah. Oh, I caught up on My Hero
Mm-hmm.
because I was like, let me just catch up. Animation looked good. I'm just waiting for the Super Beast stuff. Again, for those listening, I read the manga, so I know what's happening. I just love animation, so I love seeing the cool things.
I'm a couple
Um,
episodes back. I'm on the current season, but
oh, you just
I didn't catch up to live, and I just like waited because like now I'm just gonna like I
and
guess let it stack and
I
then
fell
finish
into
it.
that I guess trap with Attack on Titan.
Mm-hmm.
I thought I was up to date, but I was actually like because you know how they broke it up in a dumb
Yeah.
way. They were like the final season part one. I think I only saw the final season part one, and I thought I saw two, but we're on three right now, so I'm like I'm missing two, so
Mm.
I have to like find find myself on that.
Gotcha.
Now, when it comes to reading, I read Tyler Martin's GCPD. His one, he's the
Mm.
one with the
Yep.
he created antagonist. It's issue one. I posted about how I'm like I'm gonna hate reading it because there's no issue two. Um, but he just released it like maybe a few months back. It's pretty good for what it is. It's just like it's only issue one. It's like one of those things, and because it's an indie, he's an indie creator. It's like it's gonna take time. Like even for me, I just released Napoleon. Not a lot of people. It's not like we're
Yeah.
DC or Marvel that's gonna trudge out another one in a couple months. It's like it's gonna take a minute. But for what it is, GCPD is basically kind of like a police. Think of Green Lantern, but
Mm-hmm.
not with powers. They're actually like police, but in space. And like Earth was like very primitive, so they're not in that galactic force or empire or whatever.
Mm-hmm.
But in the story, it takes place in the past and present. The past where it introduces a Ethiopian woman who becomes
Mm-hmm.
a top captain in the GCPD, her squadron, and we found out how she gets into the GCPD. It's in a sense like the beginning of Guardians of the Galaxy, the movie, where
Okay, I was gonna say like, didn't you say that Earth isn't involved in it, but she's Ethiopian?
yeah, Earth is because so basically the aliens, this squadron from the
Mm-hmm.
past, they landed on Earth because they were like supposed to look for something, but one of them turns out to be a bad guy, or he becomes he basically betrays his team because he was looking for this weapon,
Yeah.
and he's like, oh, we got to use this thing, and they're like, why are we here? Because he was being questioned. But he's like, no, we have to use this thing, blah, blah, blah. Kind of just like it, they landed in Africa and there's already war happening in Africa.
Mm-hmm.
So then that's how she kind of gets caught up in all this.
Gotcha.
It's pretty dope. I like it. Definitely a read for anyone interested. Again, Tyler Martin does really great with the antagonist. He's already going to start a Kickstarter. Again, he's not paying me to say this, but he started a Kickstarter for his volume 2, which I keep getting notifications about it. I'm like, bro, I'm gonna read that. So definitely, I'll put that in the link as well. Let me put that link in the YouTubes. What else? What else? What else? And then I finally read issue 1 of Brian D. Covington's Meanwhile, issue 1.
Mm.
I can't really talk about it because we haven't
Mm-mm.
read
Mm-mm.
book 2, but there's a character that disappears in book 2, and the book ends, so you don't know what happens to the character.
Mm-hmm.
But when you start reading,
Is it a character I
Meanwhile,
know already?
no,
New character.
he's a new character
Okay.
in book 2. But if you go, and I love that he's doing this because again, this is the Star Wars, the Lucasfilms idea of like putting your characters in different mediums and then just branching it
Mm-hmm.
together. That character makes a appearance in the YouTube that he has because he has a between Magic and Dreams YouTube channel,
Mm-hmm.
and there are these characters. They're called chromies. They're like these little, think of like little gremlins. They're like they. I forget what the whole little episodes were about, but it ends where you see this character's feet come into play. And in book 2, you see like the chromies are there, and then this character is there, but the character just like disappears. And I'm reading, I
Mm.
start opening the book, and then you're seeing something happen in the past, and then that character just crashes through a freaking building, and I was like, oh, that's. I was like, ugh. I texted him too. I was like, bro, I was waiting for like, what? How am I gonna see the character again? So it was pretty dope. And I told you the audiobook is out, so
Yeah, I know.
get
I
on
gotta
it.
get on it.
Yeah,
We
because I
gotta
want to
have
have him
Brian.
back on so we can
We gotta
talk.
have Brian back on the show.
Um, and speaking of that, this is kind of like a selfish plug. So I'm gonna write something for him. He already gave me the story. I remember talking about this book, but I have the story now, so I know what it's about. I
Nice.
just got to write it. Um, they're called segways. They're in
So
the
it's about
back of
alien
the
zombie mermaids, right?
exactly. They're in the back of the Meanwhile. So it's Meanwhile the book, and then after the story happens, there's like a segue, which is pretty dope.
Hmm.
Um,
It's fun.
and then playing, I haven't been playing anything. Um, my brain has been very distracted with life and my comic, which another selfish plug. Alien Heroes issue 1 is coming soon.
Ooh, it's almost
I'm
here,
so excited, dude.
guys. It's
I'm so
almost here.
excited. I'm so excited.
Anyways, so for me,
Nice.
watching, I started another show. What show did I start again? Oh, that 70 show. Because I finished Brooklyn Nine-Nine for the first time. And oh my goodness, the ending to
Oh,
that.
it was your first time? I thought it was your
No, so
second.
I had never watched the final season.
Mm.
So remember, it got canceled, then picked
That's
up.
right. That's
And the
right.
final
That's right.
season
That's right.
happened, I think, during pandemic. I
It
think
was pandemic. Yeah.
2020 or 2021. And it was on TBS, I think. But so I only had watched my first time watching. I watched up to the season, before that, and then I had started again, watched, however much, and then I never went back. And then this time, I did my first watch through all the way. The ending, so
Like
beautiful.
to see,
Nine
and like
nine.
99. To see his growth is great.
Oh,
Especially
dude,
to like not
the
to spoil it for people out there, but I'm gonna say spoilers. to see where he, I'm not gonna say it, but like to see where he is at now. Like it's he was like, oh, I'm a cop, I'm a cop, I'm
Yep.
a cop, I'm a cop, and only to be like, it kind of reminds. Have you ever seen The Good Place?
No.
Ooh, I think you like that one. You're gonna like that one because it's kind. You're gonna not like you're gonna love it because I actually want to rewatch that. It's the same kind of like I'm good, and it's like I can just
Hmm.
be instead of being I have to be this.
Yeah.
It was great.
And that's what it really was like. And they talk about it in that last episode how Jake, he's grown up in these 9 years,
Yeah,
and that like he found his purpose. You know, he was always this crazy workaholic, you know, kind of goofball, but he found his purpose beyond that. You know, and
yeah,
it was so nice to see the last interaction that he has with the captain is so beautiful. There, it's like touching. You know, um,
how
just
randomly throughout the show he calls him dad.
yeah, and like to have that last thing of like spoilers when he's like, if I had a son and he was you, I would be extremely proud. And it's just like it hits home with everything, you know.
Yeah,
I think they closed the loop on all those relationships really well. The character growths were fantastic. I loved the character arc with Rosa Diaz. You know, when she leaves, becomes a PI. I absolutely adored that. I thought that was so good.
that
And
was good.
then the
Yeah,
rest of the team actually struggles in that last season because it was very turbulent at the time with, you know, talking
yeah.
about police departments and stuff. They did not shy away from
Yeah,
the
they
issues.
leaned into it
Yeah.
too. Cause like it's like if you knew this was gonna be your last season, definitely lean into those types. Depending on what you're trying to say and all, just lean into it.
Yeah, and you know they had touched on things like that before with like
Yeah,
discrimination and bias and
yeah,
stuff, but this last season they were really like, you know, Rosa left, and then we got to see the impact that the team had on it, their community, how they were responding to the issues that were in the world. I think it was very well written.
yeah,
Um, so I did that. I started up that '70s show. Um, watching, I feel like I watched something and literally was like, oh, I have to bring this up. I gotta start writing down like when I watch movies and
yeah.
stuff.
Same. I actually was gonna mention another one, but I was like, I'm gonna wait till I finish it. I said I was watching Beef, but
Yeah.
I'll talk about it when I finish it. It's only 10 episodes.
So I definitely watched some other stuff, but I cannot remember right now. It wasn't anything too like ridiculous. But over the weekend, I did see Taylor Swift in concert on
I
Saturday
did see those
with my
stories.
wife.
Yes, you ignored me the whole time. It's fine.
I'm sorry.
That's all good.
We got surprise tickets, and we just had to get up and go. We were like, it was insane. Like I had
I saw someone else's story. I even believe
a
a
spring
mutual
went.
friend Spring was there. So I was
Yeah.
like, do they know that they're? Did you guys see each other or you
No,
just?
because she
You,
went on like a different day.
oh, it was a different day. Okay,
Yeah,
got it,
yeah.
got it, got it.
But so yeah, we I had a couple friends that went at, you know, different times. Um Erica had friends, coworkers, even some of her the kids that she teaches, like they went to go see her. But it was insane. You know, I saw her in her last tour, the Reputation tour, and it was really cool. I saw her in Jersey. Um it was it was a really cool experience, and I got to go for free just because my job gave me tickets. But this time around, I got to. We had fantastic seats, and it's her Eras tour, so she performed songs from every single album she's ever released.
Nice.
It was a very like best of tour. It was super cool. I mean,
That's dope. I'm not a Taylor Swift fan, and I don't. I'm not like knocking her, but that's dope to go through the entire
it's
saga.
crazy because she's been doing music like mainstream music for like 17 years, and you don't even realize how many Taylor Swift songs you know until you hear
Yeah,
them. Like it's pretty nuts, but it was a great show. So that was Saturday. Sunday we were pretty beat. Um,
just resting.
reading, I don't do that. Um,
You gotta do it. So just read those three things so I can email this guy.
and playing,
Just text you right now. Read.
playing. I finally on Sunday, I think I got like an hour or two in on Hogwarts.
Oh yeah, you just
Yeah.
moved the step and closed it. You moved the step,
Oh,
waited.
Pretty
Gave
much.
it to your wife
I
and
did
let
I
her play.
did like one quest and then it was time for bed and I was like, okay. So I got to do that for a second.
At least you did a
a-
quest, not half a quest.
and then beyond that, my wind down game has been Spyro the Reignited trilogy.
Okay.
Um, it was on Switch, it was on sale, and I got it for free because I
Nice.
had like like the Switch points that you get from. So I had it up. It was like I don't know if the sale's still going on, but it was like $15 or something like that. And I had enough points to get it for free, so I was like, oh. So I've been playing that as like a wind down game whenever I can. 120% at the first game. Now I'm on the second one. Um,
Nice.
because as the title implies, it is a trilogy. Um, and
Agreed.
Marvel Snap whenever I can. But that's pretty much it. And
Nice.
I think that's it. We're gonna go ahead and wrap it up. Typically, we do an after dark segment where we are unedited, unfiltered. But tonight, we're gonna go ahead and forego that. I'm sure we'll be
Yeah.
back at it next week. But for all of
Ideally.
you that do not know, we stream here live on twitch.tv/The Average Jays every Tuesday at 9 p.m. Eastern Time. Then afterwards, we go for usually about an hour 15 hour and a half. Then after that we do about 20 to 30 minutes of J&J After Dark, where we break down a topic, interact with the audience, and that's also right here after the episode wraps. The recorded episode that we just did will go live probably by the end of this week on podcasts, whatever podcast channels you use, and we'll also be uploading the YouTube video by next week at some point. So there's a couple places for you guys to interact. Don't forget to like, follow, subscribe on all the things, including Spotify, Twitter, we're The Average Jays, and Instagram, we're The Average Jays Podcast. With all that,
Oh wait,
as
one more thing.
oh, did I
I
miss
want to
one?
leave you guys with one thing. No,
Oh, okay.
you got everything. Kill people with kindness.
That
You
is
like
a
that
good.
pause?
Yes, I do. Because I was like, what is happening? But
You were like, "What is he doing?"
this is where it ends. But this is where the episode ends. As always, I'm Jay, Justin Ruiz.
And I'm Jay, Jeremy Francois.
We will catch you guys on the next one. Bye.
Deuces.